winning position versus another very difficult opponent?
Up until the TA was picked, I was like, yes. And then TA was like, well, that's a pretty damn good TA pick. And then the puck comes out and both of us were like, huh? Like, what's going on here? Because it's not the greatest lane into the TA. Maybe they were just thinking that they didn't have amazing catch at the time, you know, just the Lich and the Tusk at the time. But Tiny just resolves that entirely, right? You've got Echo looking to play it, and he's just going to have a great time in that mid lane with his insane base damage and provides that extra lockdown that you're needing as well. So, yeah, I'm all about, let's just call him OFC for this one.
OFC. Okay, I like it. I was going to get a little bit confused, of course, with Victoria now going as outside. I don't know if this was a deliberate thing to make it more difficult for us just because of their team name now, but I liked his name before as Victoria, but it's okay. We, Nomad even mentioned, of course, YDS going as Xiaoman now, but we weren't aware that SRF is also going as Ava. Of course, this is someone who also has been in the scene for quite some time. SRF, of course, playing on IG and RNG, had stints on some Sparking Arrow teams as well. So definitely a lot of experience coming up from the position 3 on OFC.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's where I've really known them mostly from, is that RNG, Sparking Arrow. They always tended to swap players back and forth, right? Even Setsu, who's now part of this Vici gaming lineup, was a mainstay of that for quite some time. I'm going to be looking at Starif most of all because, you know, OFC have clearly done their homework. They've cut out all these trees, so he's not going to have a lot to be able to play with. But this is 3 out of 3 games now that they've been able to pick the tree and protector for him. And in those first 2 games against Vici, I know it's a lot of stress to have to go up against all the pressure that they were putting onto you, but I just really didn't feel like he had the level of impact that you would want out of, like, a first pick tree and protector, you know?
Is that impact in one particular time throughout the game, or is it kind of spread over multiple occasions?
I would say it's multiple occasions, to be honest, right? Like, in the lane, you want to be abusing this leech seed as much as possible. It's ridiculously overpowered. Just the cast range plus the radius means that you're always going to get a really nice life return across the entire lane, which is going to be really helpful. Considering, you know, the lane spamming out, it basically ends up back into you. And then protecting the towers, it's something that I thought, did a pretty poor job on in that first series. And I mean, again, Tree and Protector, that is one of the reasons that you pick it. It just makes it so much harder for your opponent to be able to expand the area of map that they can look to play upon. And then even at the very end of the game, you know, when he was spending a long time getting the Blink Dagger, there was no Blink Overgrowth that came at a really opportune time where Vici at the time were engaging up onto the high ground, could have potentially turned it around, but just didn't happen. So I have faith in him. You know, he's, again, one of these Malaysian imports that comes through into the China scene and tries to make a success out of himself, but this is the game for him to do it. You can give people the understanding of, right, you might not be able to beat Vici, but let's take some games off maybe the slight tier below.
Also, that's going to be set up off the back of the lanes, and if they're able to find that early lead, maybe help defend some of these early towers as we see how their elf lane is shaping up at the moment. It's going to be the Pango in combination with the Keep of the Light. Is this something that a combo that's going to have a difficult time versus the Lich and the Templar Assassin, or will the Cloud Heroes find their farm?
I think they'll be fine.
They might find a kill instead.
They might. I mean, this is such
they
a
can refresh
combo,
with the Chakra. CSJ still not going to have enough Chill Crash on cooldown for far too long for the Chakra really to be able to help out, but it is a lot of damage onto the Lich nonetheless.
I mean, you can get incredibly active with this trio, right? Even just whenever I see a puck, I always want to see a position 4 that's able to do damage as a result of your Dream Coil. And when you think about Coddle, he is one of them. You know, not just using the Illuminate for it, but even just refreshing puck's cooldowns on a lot of the spells. And for the laning stage, it's going to be a pretty good combination together with CSJ. So I'm actually seeing this this roaming trio, once the laning stage does break down, to be able to do a pretty decent job.
Yeah, I like the point you just mentioned in regards to the damage, because everyone in the foot's going to consider about actually going for like a hood. I think it's going to be really important for OFC to make these early towers off the back of it. No, in that previous we saw Cloud Vici in game 1 where they had this defending against it for, and I think it's very similar where a lot of the early out of his items is going to be cool. So I wonder, consider this for just the early tower.
I really wouldn't hate to see it. I think what he might end up doing is going for like a casual cloak into the Guardian Greaves, just because Greaves is such value these days. You know, we've seen Death Prophets do it, and you're against a Treant Protector, right? So it gives you that dispel for the overgrowth.
That's a great call, actually. How much magic resist?
550. 15.
15. I mean, that's a lot for 50. So you that. If you can probably even play around with the range as well. That is the name of the game here. Oh, see. It's a couple of the exos. You're going to be able to start rotating some of the cores. You know, the Tiny with a power rune can get active. The Lich can even make some rotations and put the tier back in the jungle. So that's what we're looking for OFC in, around like the 10-minute mark.
It's actually only 500 gold, not 550. I always get confused because, support player, I usually think of Cloak combining together with the Glimmer Cape and the recipe for that changed in price recently-ish. So mistake there on my behalf, but it just means it's even more enticing for the DP to pick up, so I really want to see him go down that route.
We do see both sides bringing their supports to try and secure the water runes. Butterfly Effect does find one. Unfortunately for Echo, he's unable to pick up a water rune, so won't be playing with the potential to refill the bottle. They also took the bounty rune as well, but luckily enough for the Tiny, he's got pretty good right-click damage.
I think Tiny's not going to be all that worried at all. You've already hit level 5 before the puck.
Top lane, Starve. Might be in some trouble. Jama playing around with the shards means that Ava can get plenty of damage out of the Spirit Siphon, and one more right click from afar will secure first blood.
Again, it's a Treant Protector, right? Probably shouldn't be putting yourself in this position. He made sure to wait out the Leech Seed.
They're going to go. Andy's in trouble. Jama's got the abilities back up to work with. The tree's going to start to TP back in, but he's going to be a little bit too late. I love that play from OFC. You get the kill on the Treant Protector, you wait for your abilities to come off cooldown, and then you go straight away as you bait the range creep deny.
Didn't have a Tango to be able to play around with either, so Anthony was just at the mercy of these two really strong laning stage heroes in the Death Prophet and the Tusk. And again, from Starve, really shouldn't be going down there as a result. They even get a kill up here onto the Keeper of the Light, giving it over to XM. Maybe just wanting to invade, check if there's any stacks built up, which there are. But, of course, a Coddle is one of those heroes that can actually look to take that away if you let him get too out of control in the levels department. So, very important that outside as well as XM make that rotation to protect the camps.
Speaking of rotations, we'll see them once again to mid lane for the first power into the game. Butterfly in some trouble. He's already used the Jaunt, but pops the Avalanche Slam to try and protect the rune instead. But even Mercy's going to be caught out of the river. Look at the damage. Yama's already level 4. Oh my lord.
I mean, that comes off the back of 2 kills, right, on the bottom side of the map. It just means that these rotations are so much more deadly. Really nice movement coming through from outside as well. I mean, I think they would have been happy enough just to be able to deny that rune away from the puck, who was in a good position to be able to pick it up at the time. Anything going well for outsiders right now? And you have to just ask yourself, like, what are they doing with these, with this on Cloud in response to it, right? You've got the lane, which is always, again, going to push out because of the Shadow Fiend spamming out those raises. It's, the triple Shadow Raise level up here, not the right-click build that we've seen a lot of other times. And I can understand it if they want to see him get a little bit more active, again, with the Keeper of the Light, perhaps, for some of that early damage, but someone's going to need to take the towers, and right now you've got 0 heroes that are going to do it on Clouds, and I really don't think you can take this super late either. You've got some pretty good late-game heroes on Outsider's side.
Look at this smoke. Very early movement coming up from OSC, and they might not even need the extra members to bring down the Shadow Fiend. Echo will now reveal his position. Gets a kill along with the Courier as well for good measure, as this is starting to get a little bit out of control.
The thing, they make a lot of these quick rotations. That's what separates the tier 1 teams from the level below, right? You just don't give the enemy team time to react. Every movement in pro level becomes super obvious if you just give teams the understanding to be able to do it. But they were just really quick, making sure to even use the smoke for that extra little bit of movement speed, cutting off a few seconds and catching them out with their pants down.
Let's see if they're going to be able to defend the tower. Exo, there's about a quarter duration left, so Looks like Team Cloud, they will be okay. They're going to have to bring an extra support down to protect it, however. So this will leave CSJ alone up top, but it doesn't seem like there's anything that Dai can do to kind of penalize the Pangolier, as they're happy with leaving XM by himself as well. He's already fallen back and taken both the stacks that the Lich was able to create for him. That's a big reason why that XM is so far on top of the net worth.
Yeah, I mean, they're basically saying to them, all right, you want to leave our TA against a Pangolier? We're happy with that. You know, he, again, is our win condition on the TA, so we're just going to punish a Shadow Fiend. We know that it's going to be incredibly hard for us to be able to take out a TA with any kind of rotations. Certainly not the case the other way around, with Tiny moving to the SF's lane, causing him a couple of kills, and it's actually already pushed Ice Effect out of the lane entirely. He's back into the jungle, which is not where you want to be this early in, with a Treant Protector in your lane.
See, there was a kill across the map onto Mercy's Keeper Light. While that was going on as well, though, Dai were able to get some information about the stacks down at Radiant's Triangle. I believe they only saw the hard camp stack, though, so they weren't able to scout out that juicy ancient stack that is also there. I'm sure the Tia would love to somehow steal that if she can get her hands onto it.
Oh, for sure. It's just a risk versus reward sort of scenario, right? Like, how much do you want to overextend yourself potentially on XM? Because if you are far enough away from the towers, you can delay your death by a decent amount of time on this TA, but not if you're completely away from any kind of reinforcements coming in to back you up. So I think he's just going to take use of the fact that he's playing on the Dire side and look to continue to farm a lot of these juicy camps that you can just farm back to back to back with little to no issue.
So do we like the setup that's going on at the moment from Cloud? Is actually mid lane. Andy, he's going to be caught out. The pogo stick wasn't fast enough to get over the shards, but they haven't been able to blow him up just yet, and now they could have the turnaround potential. Drops the coil with the rotation from CSG. They've got the Rolling Thunder, but the damage might be the thing in question. That's where the Park's able to come into play, but Ava will use the Exo as a bit of a deterrent, but it won't stop CSJ. The Pangolier will find the finishing blow onto the Lich, but there's nowhere to run for himself. Attempts the shield crash, but the quick use of the toss will stop the damage mitigation being a factor in that kill.
Nicely done by Echoes there. Like you said, making sure that that shield crash damage reduction was not a factor. And essentially, he got a little bit greedy there. Could have kept running, had the TP available, had 20 stick charges, but just wasn't able to pop it.
Oh, Shadow Fiend. Since last time... Oh, even man, he got a bit too close to my comfort. Last time we cast a card, he had the Chinese characters. Now it's Andy. I don't know if he wants Andy. I don't know if he wants Ice Limit.
You know, we know this about the Chinese players, right? They'll do what they want. We can't start to question it. You know, this is a team that just wants to keep us guessing.
Well, what do you want to do? Historical, Mr. Denog, if it's your choice.
I want to keep my name the same. I've kept my name the same for 15 years.
No, doesn't mean it's a good call though, but that's okay.
Alright.
I'm sure now with your wise age, you could come up with a better name than Gonad.
Well, good thing it's not Gonad. It's literally the opposite.
Right, we can do some brainstorming later on if you want.
Okay, sounds
you gotta. There you go. I mean, you can roast my name if you want. It's not much better. It's definitely not unique.
It's definitely not unique. I'll give you that.
There's no creativity there with Ares, but
nothing at all. I mean, I'm kind of surprised that they're just letting this top tower go for free, to be honest, on Outsiders. You know, it's not like they're getting anything amazing in response to it. If they wanted to, they could TP down here. I guess Puck doesn't have the TP, actually. He used it to be able to get up, to get back mid, excuse me, after taking that top tower. And I kind of feel like when you've got Overgrowth, Rolling Thunder, and Dream Coil, this is the time to be able to defend that tower. Now, TA doesn't necessarily need to farm her jungle. You can just let her farm the Radiant jungle, and then you're not only, you know, still keeping the lane to keep these supports.
Echoes with the blink reel. The control has to be perfect, and it is with Xiaoma's punch at the last second. Beautifully done, and we're already starting to see the rotations come out as Ava TP's mid, but the Exo now ready to rock and roll. They'll need the next creep wave to utilize it though, and looks like it might take a little bit too long to get full effectiveness out of this Puck there.
That's exactly the sort of blink reveal that you want though, right? Just instantly in onto the Puck, the reason that you picked this Tiny, not just for the laning stage, but for the game as well. And he immediately makes a big impact with it.
I wonder, just real quick with that bottom defense, like you said, the Puck's TP wasn't there. I think even another thing, you're so close to Witchblade. So if you lose that bottom fight, then all of a sudden, if they don't have to pop Exo for it, they could just change to the tier 1 mid. Like maybe now you're going to have all your abilities and items up to help defend that tower mid, which is potentially the important thing.
Do you think you die though? Like, I just don't think they die with Overgrowth, Rolling Thunder.
The Echo's going to die. But of course they don't group up. The threat of the Chain Frost not enough as CSJ protects himself with the Rolling Thunder and pushes him away.
I mean, that's essentially what I wanted to happen, right? Just next to the tower, so you're able to maintain it. And again, you got a Treant Protector with 4 points living armor, so you'd be able to delay the game out a little bit, continue to push it up, you know, again, keep a bit more of the map available for yourselves.
Requiem used from the SF to try and get out of dodge there, Ava, and yeah.
I mean, if he doesn't feel like he needs to take part in any team fights, it's perfectly understandable, right? You just want to avoid the deaths. See you later, Coddle.
They're going to keep going. Rolling Thunder on cooldown for 40 seconds. Yep, there we go. You got XM as well with Desolator already. Dude, this guy's... He's so farm! What? Hang on. His net worth, dude. What are you going to do against this man?
You're not going to do anything against him. I mean, you've got no spells to combo together. I think a Dream Coil now would be a big mistake coming through without, again, Rolling Thunder, without any significant damage coming through. And yeah, this should be very easy. I like the fact that they've looked to group up together to ensure that this is going to go down. It's one of the big things that I dislike when you're going up against a Treant Protector draft is like these little pokes and prods, you know? Yeah. You got to commit. You got to get that tower so that your movement isn't completely wasted if they look to make some kind of defensive play.
And with the Templar Assassin already having Desolator, it makes it that much easier. She's going to show up to help with the push. And it's lovely to see XM on a comfort hero as well. We've got to keep in mind, this is a man who's played in the mid lane for pretty much his entirety of his career. Of course, the previous year with VG Gaming, you know, he's been with the likes of eHome for a long while as well, but he's never really ventured into the one role. But I mean, the Templar Assassin is something that, of course, he has a lot of experience on.
I wonder next time Exo's up if they're just going to say, all right, let's move in, let's try and pick off the Shadow Fiend as he's farming the Ancients area, and then use the Exorcism off the back of that with our Deso, with Tag Team that's already level 2, to just go into Roche.
Look at this ward placement. Beautifully done from Dai, scouting out the movements. Unfortunately, the Shards was off the mark to catch both of them, but they should still be able to catch up to the Treant Protector nonetheless. 4 heroes from OFC required to get the kill, but when we see what Cloud are getting out of the map, really nothing. That's the big thing. No one's pushing mid. Their bottom jungle completely unfarmed. That bottom lane as well, so Net Worth Lead just slowly continuing to grow.
Absolutely. I mean, essentially, they're just waiting for their next item, right? You can't push in onto outsider side of the map, so they're just going to look to make these aggressive movements again. Honestly, with just a Tusk and a Tiny and a Lich, that's all you really need at this point. It's a bit of a luxury if the Tusk wanted to go into the Blink Dagger, but it's very important that DP gets into that BKB, TA gets into that Blink Dagger for herself. Because you don't really need their damage at this stage, but you're certainly going to need the survivability and pick-off potential when it comes to moving up into the high ground and making the most out of this great early game.
You reckon I'm just going to walk on a Roche? Like, it might be the call.
Considering it. All right.
I don't even think they need Exo. How many points tag team they got? Yeah, they got 2 points. I think they won't even require it. What? Why not just secure it?
Got this pretty decent ward as well, but it's going to be scouted out by Starif.
Well, Echoes tries to get the jump of the toss back into the tree. Not the greatest target to actually start the fight on. So Cloud can look to turn around off the back of the Rolling Thunder. They will be a bit too late to potentially contest Roche, however, as XM finds the ages and might look to hunt CSJ down, but without the blink yet completed, he won't be able to close the distance.
Not a horrible Spirit Vessel game either for the Pango. Just lets him be out on the map that little bit longer with the extra mana regeneration, gets rid of refraction charges, negates the effects of the Spirit Siphon, and against a couple of tanky heroes in the Tiny and the Tusk, he's going to be doing a lot of damage. So I don't hate the pickup. They certainly do need a little bit more of that immediate teamfight control though, don't they? That's what the Blink Dagger is going to eventually provide, but even now, if you're able to land that perfect Rolling Thunder initiation with the Blink Dagger onto the highest priority target in the TA, she's got the Aegis. And if your vision's good enough, which it has been, it's gonna have a Blink Dagger and about 70 gold as well.
Double damage.
And speaking about the TA, she went Shard very early on. What do you make of this item pickup from XM?
It's fantastic against both Puck and Pango, right? Just able to get in onto them before they're able to move away. Two heroes that are incredibly vulnerable if they get silenced, and neither of them really want to buy a BKB. Lotus Orb is a super late game thing for a Pangolier, and Yule Scepter is basically dead on both heroes these days.
It looks like Radiant are trying to gear themselves up for this bottom tower defense.
Just putting that trap down right underneath him, just in case Puck will look to make the blink on forward, and she ended up proccing it perhaps a little bit too early. I wonder if around that next exorcism timing in 30 seconds, that should be around when Ava might have the next, the BKB fully finished up. They look to take that bottom tier 2 tower. Tier 2 mid is a certain possibility at that stage, and then look to try and close the game out pretty shortly.
Honestly, I'm quite impressed that this game is only a 1,000 net worth lead. SF is getting a ridiculous amount of farm across the map. He's had 2 deaths, but hasn't really been brought down in quite some time, and he too is very close to his own BKB.
I mean, those were both before the 6-minute mark. He's certainly done a very good job at being able to fall back, farm the safer areas, and just have a look at what their division's like, right? They've got 2 super defensive wards, and previously they had one just above Dire's outpost, trying to smoke out any sort of gank attempts. So they know exactly where these movements are happening, and they know that smokes are a finite resource as well for outsiders. So he's going to need to get active soon, though. I mean, he's got the BKB available for himself. Not quite yet level 15. I don't know if he's going to be in a position just yet to be able to defend this tier 2 tower. That's sure going to be the hope on Cloud's side. It actually is going into the Yules on the Puck.
Look at the silence of the Dream Protector. No one else is nearby. No one's even going to TP in with the threat of maybe an overgrowth turnaround. So Dream Protector goes down. They'll get the tier 2 tower. This will now be able to open up the outpost for outsiders for China to work with. They're also looking over to mid, but it's just Ava leading the charge at the moment. The rest of the boys are a little bit too slow to connect.
Actually going Yules on Puck and Pangolier. I don't know when the last time I've seen that sort of thing is, right? I mean, sure, you're going up against the silence from the DP as well as the one from the TA, but man, it just seems like you're not going to be doing that much damage as a result of it, right? Can you put all of your eggs into the SF basket is my issue.
Echoes, who's the target? Smoke's going to pop and Radiant. Ooh. Alright, not the greatest pause timing, but they will get an opportunity to be able to work out what the call is going to be. Radiant currently see just Zhama and Ava. It's like Dai also are able to scout out Butterfly Effect as well, but I don't know if they're going to try and take this fight now with Smoke popping.
If outsiders will? I mean, they've got the Aegis for a minute 20, they've got a Siege Creep, and they've got Exo, with, I believe, BKB coming out on the Courier now for the DP. So I'd say they're pretty ready.
Alright. Who's the target then? Who do we feel like Dai has to try and bring down first to have a successful team fight?
Either Pango or Tree for me. I mean, Tree is going to mean that you can save those BKBs for a rainy day around the Dream Coil. And, you know, if you're just able to take the Pango out, there's going to be no disarm stopping your TA from just doing whatever the hell she wants.
Well, speaking about the Pango, of course, he does have that blink now completed, so as a way to be able to start the fight, which is something that we've seen pretty much only be on Dai's advantage. It's really always been outsiders from China, the ones getting that initiation, so that CSG has this item to be able to instantly close the distance. We'll see if he's going to be able to find an opening here to be able to do so. There's a threat of that Shadow Fiend as well, like we were mentioning with the BKB. You get into the middle, get those right clicks going, then he's definitely going to be a big threat if he gets a free fight.
Yeah, still about 600 gold away from the Blink Dagger on the Treant Protector for that instant initiation, but he's got the Tumbler's Toy. Let's see if Starf's able to do something about it in this next team fight.
His position has to be perfect, and it's not easy because they can scout out very easily. Shards, potentially even the traps as well, into the tree line, so they just double back. They've got great wards to play with. They're even going to see Starf drop that Observe Ward as well inside the jungle.
Top tower is under attack.
We'll back off. I mean, this is a big win for Cloud, right? You're not going to have to fight up into the TA with the Aegis. Sure, you still have the BKB on the Death Prophet, but SF can do what he's been doing for the past 15 minutes. Just go back into this Ancients area, and now if you win a team fight, you can look to take some buildings potentially. You got the presence with a Dark Lord Aura affecting buildings. If you win a team fight, you're probably going to get at least level 16. So, certainly not out of it yet is Cloud.
Potentially been eyeing up Ava in the mid lane. Core's going to be laid down. Has the BKB if he potentially wants a unit, but further down to the south, they've run into the Pangolier. A great target to be able to blow up, but they don't have the damage just yet as CSJ will look to turn it around with the Rolling Thunder. Meanwhile, no one's there to also provide the assistance, so the Shadow Fiend's the one that's in trouble. It's Dire via their attention over to the carry of Cloud, and they bring him down with ease, and now they can look for more as well as outside gets the gaze, dragging back CSJ into his own demise, and they're not done just yet. Ava looking to chase down a third. Mercy will be able to get some distance away, and in fact, that's enough to make him see another day, but in the end, Outsiders from China will come out on top in that little engagement.
Yeah, I mean, and again, they made the right initiation happen, right? The Blink Avatos plus Snowball and Punch combination, forcing out a super early use of that roll-up. And they were able to get at least a kill in response to it, almost entirely on the back of the Pango. But yeah, 2 cores for 1 when you're at this stage is certainly not ideal. And that first BKB usage coming out of the SF as well.
Yeah, and we just see what happens through that. Like, this TA does a ridiculous amount of damage at this stage of the game where the Shadow Fiend can't really combat that. I mean, I suppose there is also like a 4,000 net worth difference, which is a lot, to say the least. Yeah, there's mid lane, Xiaoma and Ava run into Mercy as well. And we just see the vision control that Dire playing with not only the wards, but of course that Aghanim Shard to increase the vision range of the traps and provide more as well. I do want to mention, though, this game goes later and later. I feel like a lot of it's going to come down to the positioning from the Tomb Protector and the Lich. You see, Outsiders from China, they drafted this Lich as kind of an answer to the Shadow Fiend. That Frost Shield is going to heavily mitigate a lot of Ice Limit's damage inside the fights. And, well, for Radiant, they kind of have their own mechanic in that way as well with the Living Armor. So, you know, we'll see how they can look to try and utilize these defensive factors from both sides.
Yeah, what I really want to see Outsiders do for the next, let's say, 4 minutes until Roche's guaranteed going to be up is just continue playing on the Cloud side of the map. You know, don't go high ground, don't risk having that big turnaround because they've got pretty decent high ground defense, right? Shadow Rays, a Puck just, again, using all of her spells. You've got the Swashbuckle, you've got the Living Armor, the Illuminate spam. So you can't go up onto that high ground until you are absolutely certain that you're ready. So just continue to farm up, restrict the farm that Cloud is going to get, more importantly, take the second Aegis, take all outer towers, and then look to wait for a mistake on Cloud's behalf, because they have to farm at some stage. It's just about catching them out at the right time.
See, it's important, though, for Radiant to look to get out on the map then. If you're wanting Dire to look to wait for Roshan, then Cloud need to make sure they get some vision set up around the pit just in case they're forced to take a fight around the area. But CSJ is currently underneath the trap, and Xiaoma's going to use his vision to his advantage. A jump over the cliff line will put the Pango into the grave, and now the Coddle is going to join him as well. So let's see, do they get lucky with the Roche spawn? Once it's not fast enough. 1:20 until that second Roche is up.
Just saw the value as well out of that super early Aghanim Shard purchase by the TA. Gave a little bit of extra vision with as Pango was looking to roam around, potentially find a pick-off, because they saw that the creep camp was gone, the one that's now held by the Centaur Conqueror inside of the Dire jungle. They see the Pango, they make an immediate rotation, they use their great stun combinations, and then just blow them up and even get a coddle for their trouble.
I wonder if this TA Shard could also be, like, you're against a Tomb Protector. I know something that you like to say in a draft is the Hoodwink's kind of, I guess, potency is increased just with his capability to find the tree in the, of course, in the tree line. So maybe that's where the Shard also is able to come into play.
Yeah, certainly a possibility. And I mean, I think it's a big win in the fact that they've forced at least the Puck to go into a Yule Scepter. Again, now you're just not worried about Puck's damage at all, I feel. Witchblade is not going to be enough, even buffed up by the spells that are going to be used a little bit more commonly with the Chakra Magic. So to me,
Echoes,
Cloud,
he's got a DD, man, and they're ready to go.
They got vision.
Invised up, but just places the sentry, so they're aware of this, but Echoes doesn't care. Look at him just walking in the middle. He's still got to be careful, though. Ice Limit's starting to get a decent amount of damage out from the Shadow Fiend, but Dire is still roaring to fight. And he will try and charge up the Requiem, but it doesn't really provide them a whole lot. But with the turnaround from the back, CSJ is going to be in with the Rolling Thunder as well. They're doing a really good job to enable Ice Limit to get the right clicks going, but it's just not enough. XM with the finishing blow. And now they're going to look for more. Maybe smoke to help them retreat. Mercy under the cover of this will be okay. They might turn to Butterfly Effect instead as XM.
Trap.
One right click, 2/3 to Butterfly Effect's health just evaporates. And now we'll need one more. A phase shift to dodge off of the left side, though Ava is in some trouble for the moment. They'll get the kill onto the puck. Meanwhile, unfortunately for CSJ, he won't be able to get anything out of that. So in the end, Outsiders from China will still be able to come out on top.
That's two heroes now that Outside's been able to save from the puck. You know, one time there, the Death Prophet, and before himself, just with the use of that Glimmer Cape. Of course, the passive magic resistance is very ideal, but just that additional amount that you get, full 50% once the Glimmer is provided. It's not even taking into account the invisibility off the back of this. They're just going to go straight on to Roche. Get that second item shot. Someone's going to get it. All right, there we go. Echoes looks to pick it up. Yeah, I feel like, yeah, DP. Good user of the X Shadow for sure. I really felt like Andy was in a good spot there. I mean, I liked their initial response to that. They had the vision. They just didn't have the capabilities to burst the Tiny quickly enough. And well, the Requiem plus Dreamcall combo came off pretty effectively. It ended up catching two, but again, the follow-up just wasn't there. It always feels like unless SF is free to just stand and right-click, they're going to be lacking in damage.
CSJ. But Echoes was going to walk into the tree line and run into the pain clear, but he wants his farm. Not going to try and scout out where the pain go is.
He wants his Lotus Orb as well, just so that he doesn't have to be so cautious about all of these heroes and where exactly he can look to play on the map. Just the plate mail component for some additional armor is going to be a big benefit for him.
Ooh. A lot of damage.
Yeah, he did 1320 in one hit. He's got 1380 HP.
Is this a Swiftling? Let's see. Yeah, Swiftling. Just working on the Eagle song. He's so goddamn rich, man.
It was phenomenal TA pick. We were talking about if we'd seen too much of it. The only stuff that I'd seen prior to that was actually earlier today. Team Dogchamp drafted it twice against Eternity and won pretty convincingly both times. So, you know, in the right game, TA is still a very, very useful hero, not just against the lead.
This is definitely looking like he's indeed the right game. Xem's had a hell of a performance. So two of the rest of the boys from Outsiders from China. 15,000 net worth lead, and just going to continue to try and stall out this game. Choke Cloud inside their own base. Minimize how much net worth they can truly get. I mean, they might just jump Ice Limit. Continues to play on the low ground like he was. Sieging up this mid lane's not going to be easy, though. You did mention before that Cloud have some pretty decent high ground damage that I have to respect.
Surely you wait for the Swift Whip. You're 150 gold away, still 2.5 minutes left on that Aegis. And look at that. He's even gone the Enchanted Clipper. He wants to blow someone up. Whoever he finds, just give them no turnaround potential, whether it be Puck, Pango, Treant, all of them are super ideal just to get burst really quickly.
So who do you reckon doesn't get one hit with this?
Shadow Fiend. Maybe the Penguin.
Nice. 3 heroes potentially going to get one hit. Very cool. Very
Not
cool.
1 hit, like 2 hit, because you're going to have the Swift Flick, right, for all of that attack speed.
Oh, he's holding Mindbreaker, actually.
Yeah, he's got it on the career, though.
Oh, he okay, yeah. Let's continue on with this, of course, till it gets delivered. And still continuing to, of course, choke Cloud further inside the base and further into a position where it's looking like no way to re-enter this game. 4% probability at the moment, and well, with the last remaining outer tower going, say goodbye to getting any little farm outside the base. So that's what Ice Limit's trying to do down bottom.
Yeah.
Xiaoman's just toying with him.
Butterfly Effect's doing a similar sort of thing up top, just cutting the wave. He's reached up to his level 18. Might delay out this push a little bit, but mid lane, it's going to disable that backdoor protection. So CSJ here to spam him out. He might be in trouble.
Now, it looks like he will be. A couple of right clicks, almost bring him down to living armor, not enough, and XM also is able to kill off another member. Gold-like streak here for the Templar Assassin. They got Mercy's Cotter as well on the Cotter, which was some of the components towards the Scepter. Outside the base, Ice Slimmer. That is not a spot you want to be, brother. Oh, no. We saw it before. Xiaoma was toying with the Shadow Fiend. Looks like he was able to cancel his team. He had to run all the way back, and with the Shadow Fiend dying, geez, a drop. That's Outsiders from China. What a game one debut from them.
Yeah, looking real.